Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm coming to you with a very serious topic, the topic of domestic violence. Being a victim of domestic violence in my younger years, I decided to share my story to help some young women out here. The last episode of domestic violence that made me leave my husband at that time was when he and I were actually fighting over our 3-year-old son. And my son says, yes, he remembers us fighting over him. I want you all to know that if a man threatens you, if he starts speaking negative against you, saying things like you think you're better than somebody else, or you think you're something else now because of whatever. When he starts speaking negative against you, he already in his mind he's plotting to get you at some point. And I want you all to understand this. I want you all to understand the fact that take this stuff seriously. When a man tells you to leave, just go. When you see the first signs, when he starts pushing you or shoving you or threatening you verbally or being disrespectful to you verbally, please be prepared to leave. One young lady, rest her soul, may she rest in peace, and I'm not blaming her. You all just don't know. You've got to keep side money when you're working. Don't go all in with these guys until you, even when you know people, you really don't know them. Have a stash somewhere at a friend's house or a coworker's house or somebody's house where, or stash it somewhere where you can go and get it, like if you ever need it. Have a locker at work is one good place to store like emergency credit cards, your social security numbers, your birth certificates for yourself and your children. It's like an emergency kit. And I wasn't able to leave my husband until I had to plan everything out. I had went and got an apartment. I asked my brother to come and help me move out. Only my clothing. That was it. I took the clothes on my back and the few clothes I had, we packed that stuff up so quick and got out of there while my husband was still working. I had to know his schedule exactly, and I called to make sure he was where he said he was. To make sure. Because I couldn't risk being caught or my brother being caught. My oldest brother was my boon, ace coon. He really protected his sister. And he came and got me that evening, and we left with my son's clothes and my clothes. We packed that stuff up so darn fast. I mean, as soon as that man left, I was packing. And my brother, like, he came through with his word. He promised me, and he came through and got me. And we got up out of there. I didn't worry about any furniture. I didn't worry about any cups. I didn't worry. And the crazy part is that I had cleaned up the house and everything. I left everything neat and clean and got the hell up out of there. That's how I escaped. And he did not know where I lived at. I didn't go running my mouth telling this man my plan. I kept my mouth shut. And you all need to call this 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE number. It's for the domestic violence hotline where you can call and get help for yourself. You can call and get help for yourself and your children because they actually have something on there where you can learn how to get a plan together. And I think that's how I learned to get a plan together, because this man had pushed me through a wall where he actually pushed me so hard that we tore the plaster in the wall. And like I said, that last fight, after it became, at least if I didn't want to get out for myself, I wanted to get out for my son, my youngest son. So when we started fist fighting over my son that time, my son was trying to bite his dad's leg. It was a mess. It was a hot mess. I knew then I had to go. I said, if not for myself, it's for my son. But unfortunately, my son still remembers that incident. He said he didn't forget it. He never forgot it. Because abusive men are very charming. They're very cordial. They're very nice to you when they need to be. But they can switch up like a dime. They can switch up at any moment, at any time, and you never know when they're going to snap. So you really need to follow up on that. And I was in the church all this time. I was like, whatever, like I was going through all this trying to be the perfect little church lady. Yeah, right. But anyway, ladies, you need to protect yourselves. Get your emergency kit together, take it to work, put it in a locker. Every job has a locker. Every job has a locker. And just tell your job that you need that to store your items there temporarily. Like if they have those lockers where you have to take it off for the next shift, just kind of just ask somebody if it's okay. Ask somebody that's over the lockers, is it okay? Explain to them your situation. Somebody that won't talk too much. Don't go around sharing all your business with people on the job. Um, but usually at some point you'll go to work with a black eye, you'll go to work with a busted nose or a busted lip, and then everybody will know that you actually are in a domestic violence situation. And these situations never end well. Even back in the day, I was fortunate enough to just, well, if you look at it as being fortunate enough to get some bruises that weren't permanent. But at the same time, it messed me up mentally. I had to receive counseling. I had to go get counseling for it. I had to just say, you know what, I couldn't deal with life. It caused me a lot of anxiety and sadness, depression. Like, I just spiraled because I wasn't dealing with my issues. And being beat up and punched around where you end up with one of your eye sockets, your eyes almost hanging out the socket, and had they heard that person hit you a centimeter lower, you would have ended up blind, legally blind in that eye. Like you would have lost your whole eye. It wouldn't have been an eye. So in that regard, I'm very thankful to still be here because it could have went either way. I will be sharing more of my domestic violence stories here because you young ladies need it. Like, I feel for you all. Like, these guys are, back in the day, they would slap you around and punch you or beat you and stomp you, kick you, whatever. Almost break your nose, break your eyeballs out the socket, whatever. But you survive. My God. These guys now are like literally killing these young ladies. They are just shooting people dead. They're killing the ladies' children. It's just a mess. Like, we've got to stop this. And ladies, you got to go and get yourself some protection. You've got to get yourself some protection and hide it. If you get a gun, hide it somewhere where your child cannot get to it, or take the bullets out, or just put it up. At least know how to shoot a weapon. I learned how to shoot my first .22 caliber last year. And I'm in my 50s because I was afraid of guns before. But you have to learn how to protect yourselves out here. You stay in shape so if you have to run, you can get away. Stay in shape so you're not so achy that you can't move if somebody comes after you. Stay in shape so that, start to work out and lose the weight so that if something happens to you, you can recover easier. And that's why I'm making a habit too to get myself back in this gym. I'm back in the gym now, already down several pounds. I'm very happy about that. But it's more about survival out here because these guys are kicking butts and kicking your ass and asking questions later. But now they're not even sparing your life. They're taking you out, your kids out, your mothers out, your fathers. They're trying to take out whole families. Like, it's crazy. Please, ladies, protect yourselves. I don't care who you are. And at the time, I was working as a nurse, going to work with a black eye, beat up face. Like, it's really, really crazy. And then having to explain everything to people and feeling bad and trying to still work. It's horrible. Please get help. If you see the situation, and that's the thing now, like, a guy doesn't have to give you any warning about what he's going to do. Like, these guys are killing these women and fighting one minute, the next one minute they're going down and shooting these people up and then taking themselves out. That stuff can go from 0 to 100 in little or no time. Like, sometimes you don't even know how bad the situation is. Nobody knows. So I want you all to really start protecting yourselves out here. Like, I can't stand to hear these sad stories. Like, it's so sad. Like, we've got to do better, people. But ladies, you got to learn to protect yourselves. If you know how to shoot a rifle, go to the gun range, start getting your practice in. Make sure you're mindful of your environments when you go out the house. Make sure that, this guy is not watching you. If you're in a situation where he says, get out immediately, leave everything behind. That's why I say get that little emergency kit together where you have stuff separate from your house. Or if he asks you to get out, where you can just go grab that one bag and get to stepping. But sometimes they may not let you take anything. That's why I'm saying, like, you've got to have an alternative plan. Get those original birth certificates and stuff out of that house and get the hell out and keep moving so that you can have something to look forward to, and you can still be around. Like, these guys are just disgusting out here, killing these young women and kids. Like, it's horrible. The stories are getting worse and worse. Like, every day somebody's taking somebody out because they can't deal with them leaving them or going somewhere else. But if a guy pushes you, that's abuse. If a guy yells at you, that's abuse. Don't overlook it. Stop overlooking these red flags. This stuff is killing people literally out here. Stop overlooking it. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to how they're treating you. Pay attention to how they treat your children. If they don't want your children around, that's a red flag. Please, ladies, if you need help, call 1-800-799-SAFE. Go to the the National Domestic Violence Hotline website. They have an amazing website. I haven't been on there in maybe a couple of years, maybe about a year or so. But the last time I checked, which was probably about a year ago, I always go in there just to see what the updates are. And if you have to log out of the website real quick, there's like a quick button you can press to get out of it when nobody knows, that you were on the site. And if you go on the site, try to do incognito, like go under a private, that website. Go under where you have to put the website private so nobody can backtrack you to see if you're looking for information on it. And just make sure that, if you try to look for an apartment, do those things at work, on a computer at work if you can. And, if your job has a policy against using a computer, again, you can pull up a new private screen where the screen is black at the bottom, and then you just type in the area, what you're looking for to find out like apartments or stuff like that. Or just explain to them that you need to look for an apartment. As HR can use it as a computer you can use because of whatever. Always have that explanation ready in case they say something crazy. But explain to them that you're in a domestic violence situation and that you have to look for housing, you're looking for resources, blah, blah, blah. Even ask your job, if they have a confidential line you can call to get help, use that. Try to get some type of free counseling if you can, or income-based counseling services, because domestic violence takes a toll on your life, on your mental status, on your psyche, on your energy, on you on your light. It really breaks you down into pieces of mush. Like, it's really degrading. So I advise you all to just, if you need to review this video again, or if you need to leave comments below, please leave them below. Hopefully I won't put it where you can't comment. I don't know if sometimes you put the videos only not for children, it won't let you leave comments, but just leave the information. Try to leave some kind of comment below. If not, go to one of my other videos and comment on this video if you can't leave a comment under this one, because I have to make it not appropriate for children because of the graphic details I've given about domestic violence, because I want to get graphic with you all, let you all know that this stuff is real. Like, this guy doesn't have to tell you his plan. So don't tell him your plan. Keep your mouth shut and keep moving. Don't tell this guy, oh, I'm getting ready to leave you anyway. You ain't nothing that... Ladies, stop. And I'm not blaming you all. You should be able to express yourself. But if a guy is abusive, he doesn't want to hear what you have to say. He doesn't want to hear you commenting back and forth with him. He wants you to be quiet and keep it just... And don't give off signals that you're up to something. Just keep calm, keep going. When he snaps off, just say, okay, babe, whatever. And gotta try to get the hell up out of there as soon as you can. Not try, but get the hell up out of there as soon as you can. Because I've seen this happen so many times. Guys snap, they go from 0 to 100 in little or no. I mean, they're just standing there in front of you looking at them like, what the hell just happened here? We were just having a conversation about a burger, and he snaps off. So you never know. I've been in a situation where being abused, that the guy just snatched the phone cord out of the wall and got angry and snatched the phone cord out of the wall. And he already knew what he was going to do because my kids weren't home at the time. This is the one that almost busted my left eye out of the socket. And that ER doctor was so angry with me. He said, Miss, if you don't keep these charges filed and you come back to my ER again, I am going to call the police and have them arrested. He said, I don't want to see you back in here for this same situation ever again. This was a Caucasian doctor telling me this, and I wish I had remembered his name. But to this day, I respect him for telling me that, because he really made me stick to my plan to go through with the charges. Even though I think he got like probation or something like that for the charges. He didn't get any jail time. He got like 2 or 3 years probation. I think 2 years probation or something like that. Even after I had pulled my bandage off and showed the judge was like, I think it scared the judge when he saw my eye, because it was bloodshot red and it was closed shut. This eye was closed. Well, the left eye was closed shut. It was closed shut. So, but the doctor was like, I don't know, which was my left eye or right eye? It's been so long. I'm pretty sure it was this eye, the right eye. I'm sorry. Because you try to block that stuff out. You try to get rid of but you can tell that this eye is actually smaller than this eye. And you can still kind of see some of the bruising. Every now and then this area swells because, my eye was closed shut. And the doctor had to take his hand and he was so gentle. He gently pulled my eye up, and all of this was bloodshot red. Where the white is, that was all red. And he could barely get my eye open. He put like some antibiotic drops in it. And he was very gentle. But he told me, Miss, if I ever see you back in my ER again, under these same circumstances, I'm calling the cops. Like he said, had my eye been injured just a half a centimeter more lower than where I actually got hit, where he punched me, this guy literally punched me in my eye several times because I was trying to fight him back. I remember a flower vase I had in my hand. I tried to hit him with it. It fell and cracked. And when the guy hit me one last time in my eye, I went back. I almost fell down. He tried to knock me out. I remember stopping. I was in a daze. All this was hurting. My whole head was hurting. Everything was aching and pain. And I remember I just stopped right there in my tracks. And I remember him turning around, looking at me, and running out the door. Yeah, that stuff went so quick. It just went from 0 to 100 in little or no time. And that's the thing, women don't understand that when that stuff happens, you don't have time to get away. You don't have time to react. You don't have time to give a response. Like, at the time it goes down, they're already off the rocker. They're already at 100. So you can't bring that behavior down at the moment. I wish I had learned how to do that, but I did never learn that, because in the moment you're like, once he hit me that third time, punched me, maybe it might have been 2 times, I don't know, but I felt that pain. And I remember turning around after he went out the door. I heard the door close. I think I went and locked the door to make sure he wouldn't get back in. And I stumbled to the door, and then I walked back to the bathroom. By then I had cut my foot. I didn't realize my foot was cut until the police came. The police came like maybe 5 minutes later and knocked on my door. because my windows were up, and I mean, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, "Help! Help!" And somebody called the police. So thank God for a neighbor that called the police, whoever you are. Thank you. And all I know is that when that situation escalated, it scared the hell out of me because we were sitting there talking, and the next minute his face changed, his whole aura changed, and I don't even remember what the conversation about. It might have been about money or about me telling him, "I don't want you here anymore," blah, blah, blah. It was something like, it was something like, "I don't want you here anymore, just going about your business." And that Negro had already planned this. He knew it. He planned it. And I regret telling him that, I wanted to end it in person. I wanted to do the right thing. I guess he, kind of like, "Oh, let's have one more rendezvous. Let's get together and talk, and we'll talk it out." And I invited that Negro over. That was the worst mistake. It could have cost me my life because I lived on the 15th floor at the time. So I could have ended up in it on the pavement, stretched out, dead. And I realize now that wasn't a great call. I should have just left it where it was and not ever invited him back to my apartment. So, but you live and you learn. So I want you all to understand that when it's time for you to leave a relationship, have your emergency plan ready and go. Don't be telling everybody you know about your plan. Don't post any plans on social media. Just be quiet and get it done. Again, this is not blaming the victim. This is not blaming anybody. But from my experience, once you start telling these guys what your plan, you don't want them anymore, blah, 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 it's always an issue. It's always an issue. It's like when I left my husband, I went and got me another apartment. I moved to the other side of town. It was stressful. It was so stressful because I was always looking over my shoulder, and the boyfriend that I had that almost punched my eyeball out. He had talked about I was actually his fiance when he did that. It was kind of scary, yeah. And I was on the bus at that time. I couldn't even so to be trying to catch the bus and the fear that I had of getting up early in the morning and walking to the bus stop like that, it was scary as hell. It was scary. Just understand that these guys don't care about scaring you to death. They really don't. Just understand that you've got to protect yourself. But hindsight is 2020. Had I known better, I would have got me a gun, and I did immediately hurry up and get me a car after that. But at the same time, the damage was already done. And then after that, one of the policemen was really nice. He's the one that noticed my foot was cut because I couldn't even feel on that side. It's like my whole body went numb on the right side after being punched like that. Just like boom, boom, boom. Like I think his goal was to literally knock me out so that he could feel good about himself or something. I don't know. However, I just want you all to know that you have to get yourself out of these situations. And anyway, the story of my husband, I ended up divorcing him. At some point, I did tell him where I lived at, but I would never do that again. I would never tell an ex where I lived at. Like, don't even give him your address. Give him a fake address. And yeah, because he had started coming by my house, watching my neighbors, and then was telling me that he was a drug dealer living in the apartment, blah, blah, blah. Like he was so concerned about everything. They always do the most when they're out of the relationship versus doing the most when they're in a relationship. And at first I was kind of ashamed to share my story, but I have to put it out there so that you women, you younger women can realize, or even women my age in their 50s can realize that you have to have a plan to get out. Unfortunately, I've been seeing so many cases where these women are not given a choice to get out. And the thing is, once you start telling a man you don't want them anymore, sometimes it's a problem instead of them just moving on. I clearly understand that. I get it. You can't always pack up and move. But if you start seeing those big red flags, I mean, you got to protect yourself. You got to get out because the law can only do so much. And I think a lot of them do try, but here in Georgia, even trying to get a that what do you call it, restraining order is a problem. 'Cause I tried to get against one of my coworkers who kept calling my house and who kept calling me, harassing me on the phone. And they were telling me, well, has that person harmed you? Have they done this? Have they done that? And I think that's when I really started saying, you know what, let me just go and learn how to shoot a gun in case I need to use one. That way I can protect myself. I'm not waiting on the law to protect me. I'm not waiting on the police to come out because by the time they come out, you know how that goes down. Yeah, it's sad. Like, it's just a state of affairs now. The world we're actually living in is scary out here. You really have to protect yourselves, ladies. It's really, really sad out here. Like, I feel for you all. I feel for you young people. I really, really feel my heart goes out to you people, young people, because the world is just not a good place to be in right now. Like, it's scary out there. Literally, it is. So I hope this message has helped someone. Again, that number is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. And you just look on your keypad and you'll see the numbers. 1-800-799-S like Sam, A like Apple, F like Frank, E like escape. And that's the number you can call, the domestic violence hotline, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and get information on. And sometimes it just helps to talk to people over there too. But anyway, I got out of that messy situation with my ex-husband, moved on, and we were able to co-parent at some point for the sake of our son. I never went back to the boyfriend and tried to bust my eyeball out of this socket. We just kept, he kept calling me. Sometimes I wouldn't even answer the phone because back then we didn't have caller ID. So, oh no, we did have caller ID. So I was able to screen the calls and just ignore them. He did try to, at some point, ask for forgiveness, and that's all fine. And I forgave him and moved on. End of the story. But I want you all to learn to protect yourselves out here and understand that if you don't protect yourself, nobody else will. I'm just going to put it out there like that. My brother, when he was alive, he would have killed for me. But I didn't want him in that messy situation. My brothers, they would have done anything for me. They would have protected their sister. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But I had to learn to protect myself too. Like not getting into those messy situations where you have a guy coming to your house and ringing your doorbell and stalking you and all this craziness, because it's scary out here now, ladies. And I just wanted to, from my heart to yours, I love you all. I want you all to be safe. I want you to be sound. And I'll be sharing more stories on here about real life issues. I call myself the ex-church girl because I'm an ex-church girl. I'm no longer involved with any churches because that was a whole nother realm of foolishness. And I just want you to know I do believe in a higher power. I believe that there's power around us to protect us. I call him the universe. I believe in the universe. I believe that it's greater than any other man-made entities or idols. So whatever's in the Bible, I believe there's something greater than what's in the Bible. That's what I'm saying when I say the universe. So I definitely believe in the universe. I believe he's been my protector, my angel, all of that, all the time. And you know what they say, when something doesn't feel right, trust your gut, trust it, because that energy only gets stronger the more you use it. The more you trust that energy of that gut feeling, the greater it grows, the greater it teaches you, like it protects you. That's your source of protection. It'll tell you, that guy ain't right. There's something about him. And I had a guy tell me one time, this fool told me, well, I'll do another video on that one. I'll do another video because I don't want this. This has already been a long one. But if I've helped you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I love you, young ladies. If no one has told you that today, I love you. And I've been in your shoes, and I know how it feels to be mistreated and punched around. And I just want you to know that you deserve way better than that. Don't let anybody put your light out. Your light will continue to shine even through domestic violence. Your light will continue to shine. You are a diamond in the rough. And just know that you still have value no matter what you're going through, because you are not your circumstances. Thank you.